Viewer discretion is advised.
You are listening to Wine and Crime, the podcast where two friends chug wine, chat true crime, and unleash their worst Minnesotan accent.
Or Oklahoman accent.
Some sort of regional lilt. I'm Lucy.
And I'm Amanda.
And today, I believe we've got a very special fan pick.
We do.
We do. So today, we have a very special fan pick, as I just said, from Taliesin Ward.
Yep. Allison with a T in the front.
Allison with the T. Your first name reminds me of that Frank Lloyd Wright house with the massacre in Wisconsin.
I kept hearing talisman.
But it's the Taliesin house, I think is how you say it.
Sure.
Massacre, fire, murder, blood, broken windows.
You did it all, Taliesin.
Frank Lloyd Wright.
Frank Lloyd wrong.
Who was, I think, kind of an asshole.
Yeah, I mean,
He
duh.
cheated on his wife and kids, and anyway, he was there with his mistress when it burned down.
Basically, every well-known white man we can assume is kind of an asshole.
Touché. Taliesin has chosen the topic of Oklahoma crimes.
Do we sing it now or?
I think we get it out of the way. Oklahoma, where the wind comes sweeping down the plain, and the waving wheat can sure smell sweet when the wind comes right behind the rain.
Oklahoma every night, my honey,
Every night.
sit alone and talk and watch a hawk making lazy circles in the sky. We know we belong to the land,
Woo!
and the land we belong to is grand.
Yippee-ya,
So when we
yippee-ya,
say,
yippee-ya.
"Hoo! Hi-ya,
Hi-ya,
yay!"
yay! All right, okay.
We're only saying, "You're doing fine, Oklahoma, Oklahoma,
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma."
Woo!
Oh, that felt good. That is me and Lucy's favorite song.
Every road trip.
Every road trip, every family piano night.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
That
Well,
just
I didn't even
set
touch on
my
the
whole
musical.
day well. That's
I know.
okay.
That musical is the only reason I would want to go to Oklahoma.
Sure.
Well,
Sure. Oklahoma City's supposed to be kind of cool.
yeah?
Sure.
Sure. OKC.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to say okay to everything.
Good barbecue.
That's Kansas City.
Other places have good barbecue other than Kansas City,
All
Missouri.
right. Mm-hmm. Okay. Get it? Oklahoma. Amanda, what is our wine and crime pairing for Oklahoma crimes?
Well, it's 10 a.m. as the crow flies, so I'm not drinking anything other than my rose tea with lion's mane in my favorite mug ever. That, if you recall, we got at, didn't we go to a cat cafe rescue in Denver?
We sure did. Yep.
Picked up this bad boy. But I did a little looking, and allegedly the official state cocktail of Oklahoma is a Roy Rogers. And I realized I didn't actually know what that entailed, so I thought I would go over what a Roy Rogers is, which is funny because a Roy Rogers is non-alcoholic. So I could have had this morning, but it's also very sweet. And I am not doing that to my diabetes today. A Roy Rogers, according to Wikipedia, is a non-alcoholic mixed drink made with cola, so like Coke, and grenadine. It's a fucking cherry Coke. It originated in the 1940s and is named after American actor and singer Roy Rogers, who was popular at the time. It was likely named after Rogers because he did not drink alcohol. The Roy Rogers is similar to other non-alcoholic beverages, specifically the Shirley Temple. Their recipes are similar. Roy Rogers just uses cola instead of ginger ale or lemon lime soda.
Oh, God. This isn't creative at all.
The Roy Rogers was reportedly sold as a boys' alternative to the Shirley Temple in the 1950s and 60s because you're gay if you drink a Shirley Temple.
What's next? Washing your ass?
But you're straight if you drink a Roy Rogers. You're a real man.
You're a real cowboy.
You're a real cowboy. But kind of in like the spirit of a Roy Rogers Shirley Temple, our Taliesin sent in a pairing. She wasn't down for the state cocktail, non-alcoholic cocktail. Oh, no.
Not our Taliesin.
Not our Tally. Quote, for the pairing, I'd like you guys to try my favorite drink. Okay, admittedly, this sounds good, but it also, at 10 a.m., sounds disgusting. So just brace yourself.
Okay.
Captain Morgan cherry vanilla rum with a Dr. Pepper.
There's a lot going on. There's a lot to unpack in that.
I feel like it captures the Roy Rogers vibe if you subbed Dr. Pepper for Coke.
Yep.
For sure. Dr. Pepper is delicious. And I will say Dr. Pepper offers probably the best of the diet soda varieties. It's a very close match to the taste of the original.
Didn't we have a full-on conversation with a server one time about Diet Dr. Pepper?
We sure did, because I have been proselytizing about it forever, and it's never in restaurants.
Yeah, but we found it once.
She also recommended I have a little something to smoke, so you know what? I did! She said, I do hope, because I can wake and bake. I can't wake and drank, but I can wake and bank.
Yeah.
I do hope you ladies just tear into Oklahoma. It deserves it. Best wishes, you sexy witches, Taliesin. If you need to pronounce my name, it's just Allison with a T in the front.
Not Taliesin, but I'm not going to quit now.
Nope. So that's what I'm drinking. Are you having anything to wake you up today?
Water. But I took my pills. Pills and water.
Water and pills, pills and water. Take your meds, everybody.
I do have the fixins for mimosas in my fridge. So possibly at one of these breaks, I might go mix up a Mimo. It's a Saturday.
Yeah, that's cute. I love it.
Where am I going?
I mean, I've got some shit to do today, so I can't
Yeah.
drink.
Okay.
Till
Maybe later.
Yeah, till later. Till later. All right. Well, should we take a quick break to hear a word from our sponsors and then come back and dive into the gnarly and gruesome macabre stories of Oklahoma?
Okay, L.A.
H-O-M-A. All right. We'll be right back.
So my newborn baby just turned 1 year old. 1 year old.
I can't process that.
It's shocking. And I know it's not going to get any better. Like, they're going to be a full adult the next time I close my eyes and open them again. I'm never closing my eyes again.
Never.
So it's important to look after your kids because they're going to be adults before you know it. And then it occurs to me that I'm getting older too. And that's why planning for my family's financial security is a top priority. To make sure we're prepared and have enough life insurance in case something unexpected happens and I'm just taken out of the picture.
Bye.
Fabric by Gerber Life makes it simple to get the protection that is right for my family.
Fabric by Gerber Life is a term life insurance you can get done right from your couch, all online and on your schedule. You could be covered in under 10 minutes with no health exam required. If you've got kids, and especially if you're young and healthy, the time to lock in low rates is now, babes. Even if you have life insurance through your employer, it may not offer enough protection for your family, and it may not follow you if you leave your job. Fabric has flexible, high-quality policies that fit your family and your budget, like $1 million in coverage for less than $1 a day. Fabric has partnered with Gerber Life, trusted by millions of families like yours for over 50 years. There's no risk. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee, and you can cancel at any time. They have over 1,900 five-star reviews on Trustpilot with a rating of excellent. And Fabric was designed for busy parents just like you who might be listening right now. And it's more than life insurance. You get free digital wills, access to investment accounts to invest for your kids' future, and more, and you can manage it all right from your phone.
Join the thousands of parents who trust Fabric to help protect their family. Apply today in just minutes at meetfabric.com/gals. That's meetfabric.com/gals. meetfabric.com/GALS. Policies issued by Western Southern Life Assurance Company, not available in certain states. Prices subject to underwriting and health questions.
I hate New Year's resolutions, so I really don't make them. If it's not super easy to keep, then guess what? I'm not doing it. But one that is really easy to keep is saying goodbye to uncomfortable bras, shapewear, undies forever. Okay? Let's be real. Life is too short to feel squeezed and squished. And luckily, you don't have to. Today's episode is brought to you by Honeylove, the brand that's completely reimagined shapewear. Honeylove uses targeted compression to sculpt and smooth where you want it and ease off where you don't. That means that it's super effective and comfortable to wear all day long. It's shapewear that works with your body, not against it. And you're going to feel the difference. You're going to see the difference right away when you put it on. The flexible boning in the side seams keeps it from rolling up or down. You'll never have to sneakily adjust yourself again, even after dancing the night away at, say, a wedding. This is like number one where I wear it is when I'm officiating. And here's the best part. For a limited time, you can get Honeylove on sale. Save 20% off your entire order with our exclusive link, honeylove.com/wine. Support the show and start your year off right by checking them out at honeylove.com/wine.
And Honeylove is not just about shapewear, although there is plenty to say about their incredible shapewear, but they also have unbelievably comfortable bras. You've probably heard us say before that we've fallen asleep in them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wearing one right now, and it truly does not feel like I'm wearing a bra.
No.
It feels amazing. They look great. They also have leggings. And if you're like me, you're spending the next 4 to 5 months in an oversized crew neck sweatshirt and leggings.
Oh, the next 45 years of my life.
So you got to check out Honeylove. It's not just their shapewear. So treat yourself to the most comfortable shapewear on earth and save 20% off site-wide at honeylove.com/wine. Use our exclusive link to get 20% off, honeylove.com/wine. After you purchase, they'll ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Start the new year with confidence thanks to Honeylove.
Okay, Lucy, what is our background, maybe psych, and a little case for Oklahoma crimes?
I have a little case for us, and I'm really excited because it's fucking weird.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Weird and dark.
Oh, great. My case is also dark. These state episodes, I swear to God.
I feel like the background can be brutally boring, although I actually like that we've got some good info
Is
here.
there a flag?
Yes.
Thank God.
Vexillology, I think that's what it's called.
Oh, okay.
That's the study of flags.
Flags.
Oklahoma was admitted to the Union in 1907 as the 46th state.
10 years before Helen was born.
It blows my mind every time.
Every time.
It is the 20th largest state and ranks as 28th in population size, according to census records. It was previously called the Oklahoma Territory under U.S. jurisdiction from 1890 to 1907 when it became a state.
Mm-hmm.
People from Oklahoma are called Oklahomans, but another word for them is okies.
Oh, cute.
Historically, that's a bit pejorative, a little more derogatory.
Okay.
Early on, the oil industry fueled most of the economic growth of the state.
Get out. I quit.
You can't quit.
You're right, I can't. Where would I go?
I can't quit you. You can't quit me.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
Paperwork. Tulsa. Okay, so first of all, I have to, full transparency, my Latin friend Ben is now helping me research for these notes, and he is since whiskey crimes, talking about Peoria, Illinois.
Yeah, why?
Peoria, I fear, is going to be the new Peniston.
Oh no, it's the Peniston of America.
Because he texted me when he was doing these Oklahoma notes and was like, "Did you know there's a Peoria, Oklahoma?"
Oh! So there is a Peoria, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Is this going to be like Springfield, where there's a Springfield in every state in the United States?
Maybe.
All right.
Peoria.
Let's find it.
Peoria. There's so many vowels. So Tulsa, which is about 100 miles southwest of Peoria, Oklahoma, was once known as the oil capital of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of oil, lots of natural
Texas tea, black gold.
Oklahoma tea.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, we've talked about, like, the Osage Indians and the fucking asshats who took their wealth because they were really fucking wealthy because of all of the oil that was under their land in Oklahoma. Kansas? Oklahoma. Whatever. We've talked about it. We're not talking about it today. Okay, so this next part is a classic case of the gals misremember. Lucy misremembers.
Let's go.
I only even started looking into this because I misremembered where the Spanish flu originated because it wasn't Spain. It was a military base in Kansas. I remembered it as Oklahoma, so I started looking at Spanish flu, Oklahoma. It's interesting, but I also kept it in because I think it's worth noting that because we're on the cusp of another deadly global pandemic.
Yeah, which one is it this time?
Bird flu.
Bird flu. Yep.
Which you know well.
I do.
You're familiar.
I've met her. She sucks.
Okay, in late September 1918, Helen?
Helen was one.
Okay. The first cases of the Spanish flu appeared in Oklahoma, though the public health authorities statewide, they thought that the pandemic was like west of them, but they were like over fucking whelmed by this rapid advancement of the disease in Oklahoma. So health workers, local governing bodies, everyone was just like
Scrambling.
fucked like all of a sudden.
Yeah.
In Oklahoma City, shortages of both supplies and personnel were mitigated in part by the mobilization of the American Red Cross. Rough estimates based on contemporary reports indicate that approximately 100,000 people fell ill with the disease before numbers started going down in 1919. So it was just the next year. Like, it fucking swept through. Of those 100,000 cases, it is assumed that around 7,500 were fatal, placing the mortality rate for Oklahoma somewhere around 7.5%.
Wow.
7.5% of Oklahomans died from Spanish flu.
That's a lot.
Within like a year.
That's a lot of the population.
During the 1930s, part of the state began to suffer from the consequences of poor farming practices because what would the indigenous people know?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, we just let the cattle eat away the entire ecosystem.
Yep. And now we wonder why we're going to have like horrifying food shortages.
Yeah. So because there was no ground cover and not a lot was green and growing in this area at this time, it was very dusty, and this period was known as the Dust Bowl.
The worst of the bowls.
This was concentrated through areas of Kansas, Texas, New Mexico, and northwestern Oklahoma, the Dakotas. All of the flyover states essentially were affected by the Dust Bowl. So this period was marked by like long periods of very little rainfall. So drought. It was super duper windy and it was extra hot.
Can you imagine the fires? I can't.
I mean, yeah, there's nothing really to catch fire, but like.
Yeah, but I would bet that was a big risk.
Yeah. Well,
You
with
know.
the wind and the.
Yeah, and how dry, like even if there's not much to catch, there's still like dry ass grass and fucking like dead wheat.
Mm-hmm. And like structures.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, very, very dusty. They had severe dust storms, and these factors sent thousands of farmers into poverty and forced them to relocate to more fertile areas like in the western part of the country.
Yeah, go ruin that area. Go over farm and destroy that spot. This spot's done.
You're done here.
Mm-hmm.
Over a 20-year period. Okay, so remember I said 7.5% mortality rate in Oklahoma for the Spanish flu.
Mm-hmm.
That was just in 1 year, but over a 20-year period ending in 1950, so 1930 to 1950, the state saw its only historical decline in overall population. So 7.5% of the population died from Spanish flu, but this was like the population fully dropped almost 7% because these families were basically being forced to leave the state because of the weather.
Yeah, they couldn't farm. They couldn't support themselves.
Yeah. So population dropped. It was 6.9%, but 7% over 20 years.
People also
Not great.
died as a result of the Dust Bowl, like the conditions. So
yeah.
you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
not as many as the Spanish flu, obviously, but yeah, between people moving and literally fucking dying.
Mm-hmm.
Bye-bye.
The dying just happened so quickly, and the moving was just like, I feel like it was more permanent. Like you're not going to bounce back from that.
Not much is more permanent than dying, but yes, I understand what you're saying.
Population-wise, numbers-wise.
Right.
You know what I mean.
The moving was more permanent than just straight up dying.
You know what? Elon says that death isn't permanent either.
Oh, does Elon say that?
Yeah. I trust what that man says.
Oh, don't.
Have you seen his dance moves?
Have you seen his little hops
Have you seen his little belly button poking out?
with his little crop top? Look how happy that little boy is.
Little black hat.
Oh,
Feeling
what a,
so good about his little black hat.
what a special boy. Ugh.
Do you know he's gotten 120 some billion dollars richer since November 4th?
He's probably gotten another $120 billion richer since starting this sentence. It's sick.
Probably.
It's sick.
Speaking of sick, another notable incident in Oklahoma history in 1995, Oklahoma City was the site of the most destructive act of domestic terrorism in American history at that time.
Mm-hmm.
The Oklahoma City bombing of April 19th, 1995, in which Timothy McVeigh detonated a large crude explosive device outside the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building, killed 168 people, including 19 children, because there was a fucking daycare on the first floor.
Yeah.
There was a PBS documentary that I watched a few years ago about right-wing extremist ideology. I think it was mostly about Ruby Ridge, but then they talked about Waco and Oklahoma City and how all of it wasn't just the ideologies that were all enmeshed. It was like the same people were teaching each other, recruiting, in communication. Because this all sort of happened in the early 90s.
Yeah.
Is that weird? It was
That is
really
so,
good.
So they were like influenced by the same
individuals.
Weird. But also that tracks.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why we joke about Elon Musk, but it's one of the many reasons why the sort of like Republican lunacy that we've come to know today versus what it used to be is like so much scarier because their sphere of influence is so vast with social media and the news, like Fox News, like all it's just so, I feel like being radicalized is so much more accessible because of like the internet.
Yeah.
That I mean, it's
you don't have to know face to face personally individuals that would take that much time to influence any other individual. It's just on a it's on an industrial scale.
It fucking chills me to the bone.
It's almost automated at this point.
Oh yeah, there's literal algorithms for it. AI is trying to fucking radicalize you.
Okay, I Googled it. PBS has a series called American Experience, and there's a whole season about Ruby Ridge. It looks like it's season 29.
I'm going to watch that.
But it just draws connections. It weaves together like all of these different events that in my mind, just like looking back what I knew about them from my own experience seemed like kind of disparate. It's like, oh no, they're everything
truly
is connected.
Yeah.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree.
You didn't, girl.
Okay, 19 children. Great. For his crime, McVeigh was executed by the federal government on June 11th, my anniversary, 2001. My anniversary. His accomplice, Terry Nichols, is serving life in prison without parole for helping plan the attack and also like helping him make the bombs. And I just think about Luigi Mangione and his fucking perp walk.
Yeah.
He killed one guy.
Well, I mean,
arguably.
Right. I mean, duh, though. Like,
yeah.
That is so indicative of like the American oligarchy or whatever the fuck people are calling it, of protecting the 1%. Luigi was a threat to corporate America and like American class consciousness. Which, if we achieve class consciousness, look out, French Revolution. Like, of course they want to make an example of that fucking guy.
And that backfired. Backfired.
Oh my God.
You just made him look like Batman.
Jesus. They were making comparisons to Jesus in that imagery. Like, it was actually brilliant. I was like, yeah, the cops are so fucking stupid. They're so fucking dumb.
Eric Adams.
Come on. Anyway.
Okay.
We stand.
More problematic things to come. So, Oklahoma is known as the Sooner State, which is among the stupider nicknames.
Because sooner or later they're going to leave because all the craps are dead and they all have Spanish flu, or what?
No.
Leave sooner rather than later. The Sooner State. The sooner you get out of here, the happier you'll be.
Well, I'll tell you the background.
Sorry, Oklahoma. Taliesin told us to rip on it.
Yes. Taliesin made us do it. Okay. The Indian Appropriations Act in 1889, which was before, when it was still Oklahoma territory or whatever, it wasn't a state yet. It was signed by Grover fucking Cleveland.
Boo. Hold on. Her sister was a witch. Sorry, I'm stimming. Let me get a good boo. Here we go. Boo,
Grover Cleveland.
Boo.
Boo, Indian Appropriations Act of 1889.
Boo.
So this basically said that Oklahoma is unassigned. No one owns it.
Oh, yeah.
Because the indigenous people don't fucking count. So they were like, hey, no one lives here. No one owns this land. All white settlers, like on this day, which was April 22nd, 1889, we're going to have a little race. And the first person who gets to each plot gets to keep the plot. Like time what? Like who gets there literally fastest.
Yeah, they did this so much in like the beginning stages of quote unquote America, where it was like race to California.
This was like the big one. This was the one that was like there was a government outline. And there were like people who went out and like parceled out the land.
It was literal Amazing Race. It was the first iteration of the Amazing Race.
Yep.
Race and scramble and scrape and fight.
And murder.
And murder for your generational wealth. Congrats.
The land was not, quote unquote, unassigned.
No.
It was, in fact, Creek and Seminole land.
Mm-hmm.
But on April 22nd, 1889, 50,000 people rushed to claim land. And by the end of the day, 2 million acres had been, quote unquote, claimed. So
Holy shit. By the end of the day?
I'm telling you, there was a starting line. People were on horseback. People had their wagons. They had all their shit. They had their whole families.
Wait, there's a movie of this.
There is, and I will get to it. And
I'm like having flashes.
People would sabotage other people's rigs.
It was fucked up.
People were shooting each other. It was an actual
Chaos.
starting line chaos.
It was the purge.
They were sprinting across the state, and when they found, at the head of the pack, they find an unassigned parcel, mine, and then they stuck their flag in it, and then that's where they live now.
I cannot with our white history. With our collective white history.
We're
fucked up.
It's so stupid. It's so ignorant and like poorly thought out.
Oh, God. And it's like heathen shit.
It's brutal.
I can't.
It's kind of barbaric in its like simplicity. You get here first, it's yours. Finders keepers.
By whatever means necessary. Like
finders keepers, the native people do not count.
No, and I'm willing to bet the people who literally killed to claim their land were not prosecuted for killing certainly not indigenous people that were living on the land, but even each other fellow white folks that were scrambling for the land. It feels very much like no rules, get your land, and then we'll establish whatever, and then there will be rules. But for now, we're just trying to scoop it all up. So yeah, if you got to shed some blood to get your farm, you go the fuck ahead. No one's gonna look at you.
So the reason Oklahoma is called the Sooner State, Sooners were people who entered, who like got a head start and cheated, who like snuck onto the quote unquote unassigned land like the night before under the cover of darkness.
Why?
And then just like popped up like, we got it. We were here first. Those were the Sooners.
Why Oklahoma? Is this a legacy that you want to honor with like the state tagline?
So not only are you fucking over the people who already live there, but you are not playing by the rules. The stupid rules.
The Sooner State, that shit's wild.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I will once again take the opportunity, any opportunity I ever get, to plug the 1992 cinematic treasure, Far and Away.
Far and Away! Wait, isn't Nicole Kidman?
Directed by Ron Howard, starring the iconic duo Tom Cruise and Nicole fucking Kidman.
I haven't thought about this movie in so long. Well, I know what I'm doing
It's coming rushing back to you. Oh, it's so bad. And then at the end, he dies. And then like it pans out like his soul is leaving his body. And then it comes rushing back and he just like opens his eyes and he's like, but wait, I love you. And then they kiss and then it's over or some shit. That's how I remember the ending.
I have such a powerful image of like Nicole Kidman in a bodice in a covered wagon.
Yes, with curly blonde hair.
Curly, strawberry blonde hair.
There's a picture.
What?
On the drive. There's
I
a
wonder
picture
if
of
that's
the movie
my mind's
poster.
eye photo.
Probably.
Okay.
Her mouth just a little bit agape.
It's always yes.
Yeah.
Hold on. Where do I find this? Where do I stream this? Do I have to buy this?
While you're looking that up, here is a synopsis of the movie from Rotten Tomatoes because I can't help myself. I love this movie. Joseph, played by Tom Cruise, and his landlord's daughter, Shannon, played by Nicole Kidman, travel from Ireland to America in hopes of claiming free land in Oklahoma.
Free. Yeah.
The pair get sidetracked in Boston, where Joseph takes up boxing to support himself.
Of course he does.
When he loses a pivotal fight, the two are left penniless. Now faced with poverty, the two must find new ways to scrape by. As their affection for each other grows, Joseph questions whether he is truly what Shannon needs in her life. No, I'm a bad boy. You're a pretty good rich girl. I'm only gonna drag you down. No, I love you. Let's meet my parents in Oklahoma. I think it's Nicole's parents were Sooners. They cheat. They cheat in the movie. At one point, he's like wrangling wild horses and stuff. It's great.
If you want to watch it, it is available to rent, I would assume, or buy on Amazon, YouTube, and Apple TV.
Buckle up, June. We're watching Far and Away this afternoon.
If I do rent it, it will be under one of Bill's accounts because that's marriage, and I don't want to spend my money on this.
That's marriage.
That's marriage, bitch.
That's what you signed up for.
Yeah, you're locked in now.
You're
It's gonna
locked
be a
in,
whole
brother.
lot more expensive to get a divorce, so just let me spend that $3.99 on a rental.
I will take you for every penny.
Every penny.
I'm gonna be a sooner with our bank
that we
accounts.
have. Yeah. I'm gonna sooner your ass up in this bitch.
Sooner or later,
I'm
we're
coming
all
for
gonna
you.
die. Okay. Are you familiar?
Everything is dust.
Are you familiar with the shape of Oklahoma in your mind's eye?
Yeah, it's got like a long penis. sticking
Panhandle.
out. Okay.
Panhandle.
Yeah.
So
Florida has one of those too.
yeah, Oklahoma's is like, it's not aesthetically balanced.
It's long.
It's long. It's like really like, did we miscalculate the anyway, I'll tell you exactly why it has that.
Mm-hmm.
So that Panhandle area used to be a like totally lawless region, kind of like that part with no jurisdiction in Yellowstone, because there aren't enough citizens to form a jury.
Like an unincorporated land or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was kind of the same thing. There was no jurisdiction. There were no laws that were like enforced / applied to this area. When Texas sought to enter the Union in 1845 as a quote unquote slave state, federal law in the United States that was already like in effect based on the Missouri Compromise prohibited slavery north of the 3630 latitude. So they were like, you cannot own people above this latitude, meaning an east-west line. Under the Compromise of 1850, and because they just wanted to own and exploit human beings so fucking badly, Texas surrendered its lands north of that latitude rather than having a little part of the state be quote-unquote free territory. They were like, we're not going to split up the state. We're just going to have all of Texas be all slave allowing territory. So we're going to give up that section. So you think of Texas, that flat hat, the flat top.
Yeah.
The Panhandle is what goes over that flat top.
Damn.
So the 170-mile strip of land, which was at that time a neutral strip, was left with no state or territorial ownership until 1890. So that was 40 years. It was officially called the Public Land Strip.
Catchy.
It's like a Brazilian or something.
I'm coming in to get the public land strip.
The no man's land.
It's the reverse Brazilian where you have like wild bush on the outside and then just the lips crease is perfectly clean.
Oh.
Take a ruler. It's like very precise.
Laser. I want this permanent.
Listen. Listen.
But they did call that strip of land no man's land.
I accidentally gave myself a little bit reminiscent of a no man's land
Your goat vag?
strip. Yes.
You texted the group. You're like, oh no.
My public land strip. So I had started a shearing of my lamb, of my lammy, of my sheep, my sheepy.
With your
With one of my
With your
many
manscaper.
Manscaped razors, and the battery died like mid, and I start toward the top, and I move down and under, and so I had this like strip and then like a billy goat beard, and
so comfortable.
And did I just plug it in and come back an hour later? No, I let my ADHD run the show, and I was like, well, I guess I'm just waiting a few months for all of this to even out, and then
even out.
In the interim, I will, I guess, at some point plug this in and come back to it and get it all. And now I will say the lawn is evenly cut.
Good, because that was like a full 6 months ago.
Yeah, it was.
I remember with fondness your billy goat.
My public land strip billy goat scruff. It's a style. I'm bringing it.
That was your Texas down low. That's your tumbleweed.
Oh God.
Okay, so when they decided on the borders of New Mexico, that set the western boundary of the Panhandle. The Kansas border set the northern boundary. So Oklahoma was just like, whatever they didn't want.
Fine, we'll take it.
So it's like just shapes all weird. It's like gerrymandered before there was gerrymandering.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Their state amphibian is a bullfrog. Their state bird is a scissor-tailed flycatcher.
You and your birds.
I told you I got a bird buddy for Christmas,
yes,
right?
You've told me so many times. And yet you haven't sent a single screenshot
Here's
of
one
bird
right here.
visitors.
That's Kyle the cardinal.
Oh, look at, he's got a little...
Yeah, he's got a
his
seed.
mouth.
This is one of the squirrels. I can't tell which one.
Oh, get out of here.
Yeah. Kyle the cardinal. We had a black-capped chickadee this morning.
Ugh. How fun.
I get alerts, and then it says new species, and I'm like, oh, fuck, let's fucking go.
Wait, so it also like catalogs?
Yes. It catalogs the species of birds. Yeah. And then there's also an AI feature. You can scroll through questions. So like say you had Kyle the cardinal.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to that. You can like select that moment in time, watch the full video of Kyle having his snacks. It will also like kind of select still images from that video for you to scroll through for the perfect shot. And then there's an AI button, and you can select questions that are like, what is the difference between the males and females of this species?
So you learn more.
What is the etymology of this bird's name?
Cool.
What kinds of food do they eat? How do you know if they're sick? Do they migrate? And then it just takes 1 second to populate a full-ass answer for you.
Damn.
Yeah. So yeah, me and my birds.
Wow.
State fish is a sand bass. State mammal is a bison.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you have to go to the drive and look at this next one. Their state dinosaur is the Acrocanthosaurus attucensis.
That is the goofiest dino.
It's got a little like insane clown posse face
It
makeup
literally
looking
looks like a
thing.
juggalo and has like a weird penis nub.
And he's just like a fat little guy. I mean, he's like fucking
chunky.
he's 40 feet long, but he's like kind of chunky and cute.
This creature looks absurd to me.
Yes.
And I'm kind of living for it. And also like, duh, birds are dinosaurs. Like, look at that fucker.
Yeah. Oh, he's chunky, but he looks mean. Look at those claws. He's got like claws on his arms.
ICP makeup on. / kiss makeup.
He's a juggalo.
Mm-hmm.
He's carrying a 2-liter of Faygo.
Artist
my
rendition.
God.
Archaeological rendition.
Historically accurate artist rendering.
Not only did dinosaurs have feathers, but they also drank a lot of grape Faygo. Okay, I forgot that some states have an official state song.
Mm-hmm.
Can you guess what the Oklahoma state song is? The answer is no, but I want you to guess.
I mean, I would obviously assume, well, the musical came out way later.
Well, don't take that into consideration.
I'm just going to go with Oklahoma, the theme.
It's Do You Realize by the Flaming Lips.
Why?
I don't know.
Are the Flaming Lips from Oklahoma?
I don't know.
Hey, Siri. Are the Flaming Lips from Oklahoma? Hey, Siri. Hey, Siri. Are the Flaming Lips from Oklahoma? The Flaming Lips are from Oklahoma. Okay, well, then that kind of makes sense. It's like, let's take our most famous band's most famous song.
Yeah.
And that's our state song. Suck it, nerds.
But, it looks like in 1953, it was the song Oklahoma, Rodgers and Hammerstein.
Boom,
but they've
bitch.
recently, after the popularity of the Broadway musical, State Representative George Nye, who later became the 22nd governor of Oklahoma, introduced a bill to change the state song to the main title from the musical. It was approved in 1953.
Y'all, can we pass bills for, accessible health care? Nobody needs this. Nobody needs this. The fuck?
Yeah.
You have to introduce I can't. I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose it. It's too much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You'll get real mad about this one.
Great.
State beverage?
Not milk.
Milk.
God damn it.
Milk is the state beverage of 33 of our states and DC.
What?
Yeah. Apparently, in the 80s, Big Milk pressured state legislators to invest.
We have to stop Big Milk. No. No.
Yeah.
Not milk. It's milk.
Milk. It's milk, babe.
No.
Between milk, the Flaming Lips, and your Juggalosaurus.
I can't. Hey, Siri. What is the state beverage of Minnesota?
Milk is the
God damn it! I'm out. Bye.
I have milk in the fridge. Should I go get a glass of milk?
Do fucking not. Because if I have to look at the white film on your
right here. Baby milk mouth.
Mm. Mm.
What if I dribbled some on my shirt?
I will kill you. I hate milk so much. I only have we have almond milk in our house, and on occasion I will get a tiny thing of milk for cooking or baking if we need
half
cream.
and half White Russians?
Half and half I can deal with, but I also rarely have that. We don't have that much dairy. We have butter and cheese. If you can't make it with butter and cheese, then I don't fucking want it anyway.
True. Well,
Bitch.
Kraft mac and cheese, you need milk.
Yeah, but I've actually do it with almond milk and extra butter, and it is just fine.
I'm so sorry to trigger you.
I had tears. Tears. Gagging.
Hey Siri, what's the state beverage of Minnesota? Milk.
God damn it.
Okay, we're on to the vexillology, the flag.
It's not great. Do you want to take a look at it first?
Oh, Jesus. Here we go. Oh. Okay. A lot of quote unquote honoring indigenous imagery.
There's some symbolism there.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay, so this was designed by Louise Trimier Fluke, who won a competition to redesign the state flag in 1924, and I'm sure some bill was passed and it was adopted in 1926. Louise was an art teacher who died of pneumonia in 1986. That's all I know about her. The flag has a blue background, which purportedly comes from the Choctaw flag flown by Native American soldiers during the Civil War. Unclear who they were fighting, if not everyone.
I think there were a lot of, I mean, by the time we got to the Civil War.
I'm sure there were like allegiances and things like that, but like, I don't really know. I can't logically tell where your allegiances would lie, you know? Like, you all suck.
Yeah.
You all suck. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever. There were Native American soldiers during the Civil War, of course. And they flew a Choctaw flag. Some of them flew a Choctaw flag. That's what the blue is for. And the shield is based on an Osage warrior's buffalo hide shield. The flag's central emblem features, oh God, this is so tacky, a Native American quote-unquote peace pipe.
Oh, God.
Called a calumet and an olive branch.
Look, we're all friends, even though I slaughtered, like, all of you.
They're
stole all of your land. We're friends.
It's fine. We have this flag now. So it's the calumet and the olive branch crossed in the middle to represent peace between the Native Americans and European Americans. Jesus fucking Christ.
Settlers.
Speaking of, the shield also has
Colonizers.
6 golden brown crosses around it, which at first glance would suggest Christianity to people like us, but they are in fact Native American symbols and represent high hopes.
Okay.
Still not great. I think I like this trend of replacing state flags, and this should definitely be a candidate. So now I am going to go into my case, and I'm going to tell you about a lady named Karen Silkwood.
Not a Karen.
We like her.
Okay.
She's good.
All right.
Plus, she was born in 1946. So, like, Karen was more of a regular name then.
Okay.
There's a lot of that's why we call them Karens.
Sure.
Okay, so Karen was born February 19th, 1946. She was a Pisces. Her mother's name was Merle. Her father's name was Bill. And she had 2 sisters, Rosemary, because they're 2 different words, and Linda. And she was born in Longview, Texas. Early on, Karen was a very, very bright girl. She was a straight A student, and she was really into chemistry. She was very good at chemistry.
Women in STEM.
She's
Women
a
in
STEM. STEM. In 1964, she attended the Lamar State College of Technology in Beaumont, Texas. She dropped out a year later to elope with a guy named William Meadows, who was an oil pipeline worker and a fucking douchebag.
Babies, you don't have to drop out to elope. You can elope and stay in school. You can elope and have your life. Maybe not in like the 60s, but still.
Yeah. So this was like 65-ish. They had 3 kids together. Oh, yeah. She's only 20. She was 19. Girl, don't marry
not for
an
man.
oil pipeline worker at 19.
Don't give up chem for some oil-soaked nerd.
She gets back into it. So they had 3 kids together. Meadows was really bad at not spending money, and they had to declare bankruptcy. He also was having an extramarital affair got caught for it, and then just decided to continue the affair. No, I like her more than you, my wife. So Karen was like, fuck this, and left him and moved to Oklahoma City. Now we're getting to the Oklahoma. I don't know. I'm assuming she brought her kids with her, but I don't know. I didn't have a lot of details about her personal life. In August of 1972, Karen was hired as a metallography laboratory technician with the Kerr-McGee Corporation at their Cimarron River plutonium production plant near Crescent, Oklahoma, which Ben wants to note is 3 hours southwest of Peoria, Oklahoma. She soon joined a local chapter of the Oil, Chemical, and Atomic Workers Union. So that's the OCAW, the OCAW. Okay, OCAW.
Okay, OCAW.
In August 1974, Karen was elected to the chapter's 3-person bargaining committee, and that she was the first woman to hold such a position at the Kerr-McGee plant. So her union chapter had this committee that was basically in charge of the negotiations with the corporation. And she was the first woman. Hell yeah, get it. One of Karen's main duties was safety inspections at Kerr-McGee, and at the plant she worked at, she found what she believed to be some pretty fucking terrible safety violations. So those violations included workers being exposed to radiation, faulty...
Oh, Jesus.
That's the least bad one.
Oh, great.
Faulty respiratory equipment, lack of shower facilities, which they need to like decontaminate at the end of every day. Like we've all seen the hot zone. You have to decontaminate. It's a very high risk work environment. Like they have to have these systems in place. She also found evidence of falsification of records regarding plutonium rods and evidence of missing or misplaced plutonium. So plutonium is dangerous to both humans and animals and the environment in a number of ways. So if you inhale it, it can damage your lungs. It can get into your kidneys and your bones where it can cause damage in those. It can cause nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, dehydration. It also super causes cancer. It's you have to be very careful handling plutonium, go figure. On September 26, 1974, Karen Silkwood and the 2 other committee members attended a meeting in Washington, D.C. with Tony Mazzochi, which was the union's legislative director. The committee members voiced their complaints about the dangerous workplace conditions. So all of the union members were just like, this is kind of shitty. Like we've noticed broken X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, blah. They also were seeking advice on how to win the upcoming election that could potentially decertify the whole union.
Of course.
So every now and then they have elections that are basically between the corporation and the union, whether or not to allow the union to like continue. To exist.
Yeah. And I wonder what side the corporation's going to fall every fucking time.
Yeah. Mazzochi recalled how Karen pulled him aside at one point during this meeting and said, just so you know, there's some other problems I would like to talk to you about. And he was like, oh, okay. More? He was like, okay, what are you talking about? How, what's worse? And she said, this is a quote from her. She said, quote, I work in a quality control lab and I noticed the lab technician would use a felt pen on the x-ray to cover over that little thin line that showed that there was a crack in the control rod welds.
What?
So there was a lab tech who was taking x-rays of whatever they fucking take x-rays of. Once the x-ray like printed out, she would take a literal Sharpie and
cover up evidence
up a crack that was showing on the x-ray. That meant that there was a crack in one of the rods.
And all this harmful shit's leaking out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she was covering it up.
Of course she fucking was.
Yeah. And, okay. And she told me there was some fooling with the computer data, too. I said, look, Karen, if you
Not
can...
fooling.
I said, look, Karen, if you can prove that, I think we could use it to beat the company and improve the conditions in that facility.
Mm-hmm.
So he was like, okay, well, if you have evidence of this, then that's great. We can use this to solve all of the above.
Mm-hmm.
Because they didn't really have much evidence from like the main concerns. At the conclusion of that meeting, Mazzocchi and his staffer, a guy named Steve vodka with a W,
I love it.
Vodka, advised that the best hope for survival of the workers and their union chapter, their jobs and their union chapter, was to raise the issue up the flagpole to the Atomic Energy Commission and the national press.
Okay, here we go.
They were going to toot that whistle.
Mm-hmm.
So that is exactly what they did. They began a whistleblowing campaign against Kerr McGee, citing these concerns. It's also, okay, so that election was happening at this same time.
Okay, yeah.
All of this is happening within like a week and a half period.
Yeah.
So it's like shit came to a boil real quick.
Yeah, the union's trying to negotiate and shit while they're also discovering that they're being essentially poisoned.
Mm-hmm.
And employees, bootlickers are covering it up.
So they also, Kara McGee had a union busting campaign that had at this point gathered enough signatures to force that vote.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, we're doing this vote. So quite a time to blow this particular whistle.
Right.
But their whistleblowing efforts brought enough awareness to defeat Kara McGee and maintain the union as their bargaining agent.
All right.
So everyone got to keep their jobs and their union. And Kara McGee is definitely not upset about any of this.
No, they're fine with it. They made all the changes to provide workplace safety.
Yeah.
And that's my case.
And they fixed all the problems and everyone got a raise.
Mm-hmm. God.
Special thanks.
Honestly, though, like, I feel like workers' rights and like pro-union politicians are things we don't talk about enough.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just such a glaring example of why pro-worker, pro-union, legislators are so fucking important, because it's literally life or death. Like, this happened a while ago, but there are still plenty of places in the United States where employees are subject to not only immediate danger from their jobs, but like long-term adverse health effects like cancer.
Remember when I told you about the boys in the barn, the turkey plant with those men who were
disabled,
but they were like held there for decades.
So yeah, just, we've got, obviously the political climate is a cesspool, but this is where like local elections are so important, and doing that kind of research on your ballot of like who is pro-union and who is like for the people and not just for the fucking corporations, because the corporations are killing you, babes. Mm-hmm. They're killing all of us.
This is already glaring so far in my story, and it is about to get fucking bonked.
Way worse?
Way worse.
Cool. Okay. Let's go. Let's do it.
So one of Karen's jobs was grinding plutonium rods for nuclear fuel rods, like in power plants.
Karen the rod grinder.
She's grinding those rods. So this was done using what was called a glove box, and I have a picture of it for you on the drive, but it's a box where they have the actual materials in this box in this very controlled chamber.
You stick your hands in the weird gloves.
And you stick your hands in the gloves.
Mm-hmm.
I went to a zoo one time and they had that for like the otter cage.
So you could like feed them and stuff?
Yeah, so you could like kind of touch them, but not with your bare hands.
Cute.
It was really cute. That's not what this is, but
no.
Glove box. On November 5th, 1974. So this was just like a week and a half after that meeting where Karen was like, hey, I have all this information.
Mm-hmm.
During a routine self-check for radiation, however they check for radiations at their various workstations, those results showed about 400 times the amount of radiation legally allowed for plutonium.
Great.
For an employee handling plutonium.
Which is wild because what's legally allowed is probably already like quite dangerous for human contact. And this is 400 times that amount.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
So they tested all of her shit, of course. They did find traces of plutonium on the inner portions of the gloves that she had been using.
Jesus.
But the gloves didn't have any kind of leak or hole or perforation, according to the tests performed subsequently by Care McGee personnel.
So there's got to be radiation in the environment that's getting into the inside of the gloves.
Whatever was causing that intense radiation on her person wasn't from what was inside the glove box.
No.
But they don't know where it is coming from.
What the fuck?
And it gets weirder. The next day, on November 6th, as she was leaving for a union meeting, so they test before they leave the building. She again tested positive for radiation, even though she hadn't even been working directly with plutonium that day.
She's being targeted as the whistleblower. I'm telling you right the fuck now. Someone's coming for her.
So she was I think the decontamination again, I think involves the showers. So she decontaminated like more before she left. On the third day, on the 7th, as she came into work, she was so contaminated that she was breathing out radioactive air, bitch.
What the fuck? So they're getting her at her home?
Yes.
Holy shit.
So her a health team from the company went to her home and found a bunch of contamination around mostly the bathroom and her refrigerator.
Oh my fucking God. So in places where you're like putting things in your mouth, you're eating, you're brushing your teeth, I can't.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's sick.
So of course Karen was like, okay, someone working for Care McGee had deliberately tried to poison her with plutonium in her home.
Mm-hmm.
Care McGee's management alleged that Silkwood had contaminated herself in order to harm the company's reputation.
I am going to shit.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck you.
You don't even know. You don't even know.
Silly woman, you did it to yourself. You're just trying to get attention.
You're just trying to make me look bad.
I'm a good company.
A good corporation. We have a good heart. So there's an author named Richard Rashke who wrote a book called The Killing of Karen Silkwood. And according to him, the particular type, they could trace the particular type of plutonium that was found in Karen's home.
Spectrometry or whatever.
Literally, yes.
We're gonna find it.
So the plutonium that they found in Karen's home came from a Cimarron production area, specifically pellet lot 29, where Karen didn't fucking work.
Okay, but it can narrow it down to people who did work in that lot.
Starting in August, this was like a few months earlier, the pellet lot 29 samples were kept in a Care McGee vault to which she didn't have access.
Yeah, so she's not doing this to herself. We're
definitely
shocked.
Isn't doing this to herself. She believed that she, at this point, had enough evidence to corroborate her claims about Care McGee, and on November 13th, fucking 5-6 days later, she had a union meeting at the Hub Cafe, which was to be followed by a visit with New York Times journalist David Burnham.
Mm-hmm.
So this journalist is the same guy who had recently, like previously, not too long previously, had broken the Serpico corruption case, the NYPD corruption case.
Yeah, so he's like a big name at this point.
He is like an investigative journalist.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So she leaves this meeting with her union people and she's like, okay, I'm going to go meet this New York Times journalist. He's like a big deal. We're going to get this publicized. At the union meeting, Karen stated that she was frightened of dying of cancer and or radiation poisoning, but that she was reassured by the binder of evidence that she had with her at that time. So she's standing up, speaking.
She's not a binder full of women. She's a woman full of binders, baby.
She's 10 binders in a trench coat.
Let's fucking go.
She's got all the evidence. She had a notebook and a binder, and she was like, right here, this is all I need. I'm scared, but I've got it. Like, I have it. According to an affidavit given by a fellow union member who was at that meeting, Karen pointed to her documents and said, quote, there was one thing she was glad about. The affidavit said there was one thing Karen was glad about, that she had all the proof concerning falsification of records. As she said this, she clenched her hand more firmly on the folder and notebook she was holding. She told me she was on her way to meet Steve Wodka and a New York Times reporter to give them this material.
This makes me nervous that she's talking about this with other people.
Well, all of her union people knew about, I think they knew about the alleged poisoning in Karen's home.
For sure, but that she's specifically like, okay, I'm taking, and this is not a victim blaming thing. It's just freaking me out because it's like someone is trying to kill her with radiation, and now she's telling someone that I presume she trusts, but still telling someone.
Her union peeps, the other committee
her
people.
plan to further blow the whistle and involve a big name reporter. So like this is not gonna go well for her.
I don't know how like openly she was saying this, but there was a lot of investigation after the fact, so they dug up these quotes from these affidavits.
Okay.
What happened next is really fucking gnarly, so buckle up, so to speak.
Oh Lord.
At 7:10 p.m., Karen leaves the Hub Cafe and she's heading to Oklahoma City to meet the New York Times journalist and Steve. It's about a 30-mile drive.
Okay.
Less than a half hour later, her body was discovered in a horrific car wreck.
Oh, shit.
So off of State Highway 74, Karen's car had evidently crossed to the left and hit a culvert with such force that the steering wheel impaled her and pinned her to the roof of her Honda Civic.
What the fuck? She was definitely run off the road somehow.
There's a picture of her car. The front end of it is fucking flat.
Oh
Flat.
my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
So very high rate of speed.
I don't like this at all.
It's so the picture is like, oh, it's shocking.
That is really shocking.
So, suspiciously, the crash investigators did not find a folder or a binder or a notebook full of evidence against Karen McGee. But they did find were 2 marijuana cigarettes and a couple of Quaaludes.
Oh, okay.
So they claimed
Interesting.
she must have fallen asleep at the wheel. Because everyone going to meet a New York Times journalist is
Pops a couple lewds and smokes a few joints.
yeah, just to loosen up.
Yeah, before the long 30-mile drive.
To meet a renowned investigative
Journalist. Yeah, no, and this was like very, I'm assuming, on par with her normal patterns of behavior.
Yes, a mother of 3.
Bullshit.
Couple more anomalies with this wreck. The union hired their own investigator, a guy named A.O. Pipkin Jr., to look at the wreck, and here are some of his conclusions.
And wait, the union hired this guy?
The union hired...
Okay. So the good guys hired this guy for an independent investigation.
Correct.
Got it.
So he found that the steering wheel was bent back, indicating that she was gripping it very hard, trying to maintain control of the vehicle. She wasn't passed out from lewds.
No.
The car, because he thought it was strange that the car veered to the left, because when people nod off if they're driving, they tend to go to the right because the road is crowned so that water doesn't collect.
Yep. So so there's a slope.
There's a slope. Mm-hmm. So people, if you're just drifting, you're way more likely to go to the right.
Mm-hmm.
The tracks show that the car didn't drift, but was actually out of control before it left the highway. So he wrote, quote, "The only way this car could have been put in that attitude was either an impact by an unknown vehicle or a combination of impact by unknown vehicle and driver overreaction and subsequent loss of control." Lastly, and I think this is the most damning part, there was a fresh dent on the rear fender that, according to her friends, had not been there previously. And that was weird because this was a head-on crash. Why would there be a dent on her rear fender?
There were multiple actors, I think, in this. Someone coming up behind her, someone maybe slowing down in front of her.
Yeah.
Creating an environment for this accident to happen. And she's probably fucking freaking out, knowing she's a target, gripping the steering wheel, knowing she's on her way. Oh, that must have been fucking terrifying. I can't.
So what actually happened, we only have theories. It's possible she was rammed with the intent to cause a wreck. Maybe she was being chased or intimidated, lost control of her car. Maybe both. Who, I wonder, would want the information regarding Kara McGee's practices to remain out of the public eye?
There are just no possible leads there.
I'm stumped. A lawsuit was filed posthumously on her behalf against Kara McGee by her father and her children, citing gross fucking negligence. And apparently during the time leading up to the trial for this lawsuit, there was further intimidation. This is fucking crazy.
Of her family?
Of everyone.
Oh, God.
According to that author, Rashke, officials investigating Kara McGee's operations and the circumstances of the car crash that were themselves put at risk. Officials investigating Kara McGee. People had been tailed and forced off lonely roads by random speeding cars.
Interesting pattern we're seeing here.
Two shadowy characters who were about to be subpoenaed suddenly packed up their attaché cases and fled to West Germany.
Okay.
One apparently healthy police officer who was about to be deposed died of a heart attack. There was no autopsy. Someone tried to murder one of the Kara McGee managers who was involved and knew a lot. Someone tried to assassinate Bill Taylor, who was the chief investigator for the legal team representing the Silkwood family. And finally, there were all those strange, unexplainable clicking noises on everyone's telephones.
Oh, for fuck's sake. They're fucking bugged.
Yeah.
Tapped.
So eventually Kara McGee settled out of court. So they never had to admit fault. They never went to trial. They just threw money at the problem.
Well, they literally killed people and tried to kill people.
They for sure killed one person. The rest of it just can't really be proven.
Oh,
I mean,
my
none of it
fucking
can be
God.
proven. But they definitely killed Karen.
Yeah.
This is one last quote about the OCAW. OCAW member and atomic worker Karen Silkwood was a union martyr. She died trying to protect the health, safety, and security of her fellow workers and the community at large. And last thing, Ben says, I think there's a Meryl Streep movie about her, and I think Cher is in it too.
What? Googling. What was her last name? Silkwood?
Silkwood.
Silkwood is a 1983 American biographical drama film directed by Mike Nichols and starring Meryl Streep, Kurt Russell, and Cher.
Yes.
Guess I'm doing a Far and Away / Silkwood double feature tonight. So much for going to bed early.
You could top it off with Oklahoma.
Oh my God. I really could.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm going to put a movie poster of this in your folder.
Okay.
Because Meryl Streep's hair, I don't think really captures the Karen Silkwood look based on the photo that you provided, but it is a very queer shag that I appreciate deeply.
Queer shag.
It's a very queer shag. She looks like
She had big hair.
every woman that I would be attracted to. But obviously, I mean, it's fucking Meryl Streep. It's fucking Meryl Streep. Like, what am I even saying? But
You do love a queer shag.
I love a queer shag. I love a queer shag.
Mm-hmm. Maybe a little undercut.
Wow.
All right.
What?
That is my segment for
Wild.
holy shit, Homa crimes.
That is a really nutty story. I'd never heard of that before.
I hadn't either. The steering wheel, and
Impaling her?
and she bent it, and then it
No.
impaled, and then it stuck her to the roof of the car.
I mean, she was literally like fighting for her life to bend the steering wheel.
A round wheel impaling you.
I know. Bye-bye. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Great. Well done. I'm so glad you went over that because, yeah, that's fucking wild.
Yeah.
Should we take a quick break to hear a word from our sponsors and then get into my sick shit?
That's a great idea.
Great. Let's do it.
This episode of Wine and Crime is brought to you by Wild Grain. Wild Grain is the first bake from frozen subscription box for artisanal breads, pastries, and pastas. Wild Grain's boxes are fully customizable to your tastes and dietary restrictions. In addition to their classic variety box, they've recently launched a new gluten-free box and a plant-based box that is 100% vegan. They got something for everyone. Best of all, they take the hassle out of baking since all the items bake from frozen in 25 minutes or less with no mess or cleanup. This is sent from the heavens.
It truly is. Y'all know I am in love with Wild Grain. Last week, I made these like thick cut bacon BLTs on a loaf. I just made a whole ass loaf of the Wild Grain focaccia, sliced it down the center, layered up like into a long sandwich and cut it into small sandwiches for me and my husband. And it was heaven. Like it was so good. Everything felt, because it was from scratch without me having to be the one making it from scratch. It was a perfect dinner. So are you ready to bring all your favorite carbs right to your doorstep? Be sure to check out Wild Grain so you can begin building your own box of artisanal breads, pastas, and pastries. For a limited time, Wild Grain is offering our listeners $30 off the first box, plus free croissants in every box when you go to wildgrain.com/gals to start your subscription. You heard me, free croissants in every box and $30 off your first box when you go to wildgrain.com/gals. That's wildgrain.com/gals, or you can use our promo code GALS at checkout. Let's be honest, doing laundry, not our favorite activity. It's certainly not mine. I do not want to confess to the pile I'm sitting on right now, but what if it could feel like an indulgence for your senses? That can be motivating. With Laundry Sauce, laundry day isn't just about cleaning your clothes. It's about soaking in rich, sophisticated scents that turn your whole routine into a luxurious experience. Imagine the warm, comforting embrace of Australian sandalwood, the elegant and calming touch of Egyptian rose, or the fresh, invigorating burst of French saffron as you fold your laundry. These are not your average scents, y'all. Laundry Sauce brings you perfume-quality fragrances that transform your laundry into an experience that smells incredible. So laundry doesn't have to be a chore. With Laundry Sauce, you may actually look forward to doing laundry. For a limited time only, our listeners get 20% off your entire order when you use code GALS at laundrysauce.com. That's 20% off your order at laundrysauce.com with promo code GALS.
These pods, these laundry pods, they are 4 times concentrated. So you just pop it in and it has every bit as much cleaning power, if not more, than like watered down detergents in like the big jugs. And also, obviously, they smell incredible, but they also like tackle stains. They don't have harsh chemicals that degrade your fabrics. And when we talk about the scent of these, it's not overpowering. You're not going to get sick of, whatever smell your laundry is. It's subtle. It kind of like you catch a whiff of it here and there and you're just like, yeah, This is luxury.
Your sheets. Spa quality sheets.
If nothing else, you have got to wash your bedding and like your towels with laundry sauce.
Mm-hmm.
You can also subscribe. So put this obsession on autopilot and save an extra 15 to 20% off every order when you subscribe. These premium laundry pods, it is a full upgrade to your laundry routine. You gotta give it a try. And if you don't love it, if you don't get better smelling, cleaner laundry, they offer a full money back guarantee. No questions asked. There's no risk here. You gotta give it a try.
For a limited time only, our listeners get 20% off your entire order when you use code GALS at laundrysauce.com. That's 20% off your order at laundrysauce.com with promo code GALS. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Smell good, look good, feel good with laundry sauce.
Do you have a very delicate relationship with coffee and caffeine, whether it's like your body or your guts or your brain or like your energy level? It can be a complex relationship. And maybe you're one of those people that you can't have any caffeine after like 2 p.m. or you'll be up all night. You got the jitters, or you're very dependent on caffeine. It's no joke. So if this sounds like you, it is time to try Mud Water. This stuff is packed with cacao, chai, lion's mane, chaga, reishi, cordyceps, turmeric, and cinnamon.
Yum.
All of that good stuff from Mother Nature. Mud Water gives you a smooth energy boost without those heart-racing jitters. So think of it like coffee's like chill yoga cousin who like goes on spiritual retreats in Cancun and comes back just like
A changed
zen,
woman.
tan, no jitters, just so relaxed and calm. That's going to be you.
What are
And
you
also
on?
you'll sleep
Mud
better.
water, baby.
I'm on Mud Water. And if you're a matcha lover, Amanda, Mud Water's Matcha Starter Kit is a must try. It is the perfect way to dive into the world of clean energy with the added benefits of matcha's calming, focused boost. It's also beautiful. Mud Water's Matcha Starter Kit truly gives you laser focus, helps you stay focused. There's no brain fog, even like later in the day. You're gonna feel great. So try it today and save big. Our listeners get up to 43% off your entire order, free shipping, and a free rechargeable frother. She's so cute.
I love the frother.
Head to mudwtr.com and use code GALS at checkout. And now Mud Water is available at Target and Sprouts locations across the U.S., so it's never been easier to grab a cup of this winter-friendly pick-me-up.
And if you are concerned with the ingredients or on specific diets, honestly, every single ingredient in Mud Water's products, they are 100% USDA certified organic. They're non-GMO. They're gluten-free. They're vegan. They're kosher. And my favorite thing, as a type 1 diabetic girly, there's also 0 sugar and no sweeteners added. So it's not going to like send me into a spike of oblivion right at the beginning of my day.
Or give you like a horrible gut ache.
Yeah, exactly. And all of the ingredients just serve a really specific purpose. Like they use organic ingredients for clean, natural boosts. Mud Water's smooth, earthy flavors provide a delicious and natural source of energy. Their OG blend contains cacao and chai for a hint of caffeine and hot chocolate-like flavors. They have lion's mane for focus, which I have been obsessed with, cordyceps to promote natural energy, and both chaga and reishi to support a healthy immune system. So what are you waiting for? Are you ready to make the switch to cleaner energy? Head to mudwater.com and grab your starter kit today. Right now, our listeners get an exclusive deal up to 43% off your entire order, plus free shipping and a free rechargeable frother when you use code GALS. That's right, up to 43% off with code GALS at mudwtr.com. After you purchase, they'll ask you how you find them. Please show your support and let them know we sent you. Keep your energy natural and refreshing all year long with Mud Water, because life's too short for anything less than clean, delicious energy. Okay. I got a dark one for you this week, so buckle up and you can blame Taliesin.
It's always the fan
Because
picker.
She wanted me to cover this absolute monster. So we're going to talk about Roger Dale Stafford, who was born on November 4th, 1951, a Scorpio, in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Bad start.
Bad, rough start. Rough start. My sister's a Scorpio.
Scorpio
okay?
born in Tulsa in the
Murderers.
50s.
Murderers, all of them. All of them. Just kidding. We have got love for Scorpios too, but we are afraid of you.
Couple of
Helpfully. His early life was not great, reportedly unstable and troubled due to growing up in a, quote, dysfunctional environment, which may have contributed to his violent tendencies later on.
Great.
His family was working class. They struggled financially. And while reports were not like definitively confirmed, there were certainly rumors of abuse, certainly tension, and like violent outbursts in the family. He appeared to be an ordinary individual to many, but Stafford harbored some sinister traits from a young age. He was described as manipulative and deceptive, traits that would later define his adult personality. And these behaviors could be indicative of underlying psychological issues and potential antisocial personality disorders. But like, spoiler alert, he doesn't live long enough to enter into the more modern age of diagnosis and treatment for these types of mental health issues. So that's a lot of speculation based on like criminal psych analysis, both during his arrest and time in prison and like after he died. He was committing some smaller crimes as a kid and a teen, mostly petty theft. He dabbled in the art of the con. He was very charming. And, you know, that charm plus his propensity for manipulation, he was able to like get money out of people, trick people into being friendly with him, etc. But at this point, he wasn't getting violent, but like goddamn did he as an adult. Roger met Verna Bell, the woman who would become his bride.
Verna Bell.
Verna Bell, beautiful name.
Yeah.
In the 70s, early 70s. It was a pretty organic coupling. They met their mutual friends and like rolled in similar social circles. And at the time, Roger was a charismatic yet troubled man with a history of manipulative behavior. Verna was described as shy and submissive, and it's, you know, they thought maybe she's drawn to Roger's confidence, his assertiveness, these traits that like definitely masked his darker inclinations and kind of pulled her in.
Mm-hmm.
They got serious pretty quick, and they married in 1974. They did have 3 children together, but I'm not exactly sure. Well, it had to have been fairly quick because things escalate not long after they're married. So like they essentially go on this kind of Bonnie and Clyde, but worse.
Killing?
Killing spree.
Ooh.
And somehow in that span of like, you know, 6 years or so, they had 3 kids fairly close together.
Yeah.
Verna was often described as submissive and compliant, characteristics that made her vulnerable to Roger's manipulation. Now, I think that's important to flag because as I was researching this, I'm like, why would she agree to this? And I think that she is responsible for her role in all of this, and the justice that was served to her is indeed justice. And she was manipulated into participating. But like, you still made your choices, girl. So bye-bye. She seemed eager to please him and avoid conflict, which may have led to her acquiescence to his plans, despite their violent nature. Short on cash, Roger, he was always fucking short on cash. This bitch was broke. Roger had taken to armed robbery over the years. He targeted businesses where he anticipated encountering significant amounts of cash, like restaurants, motels, things like that. He often carried weapons and used threats to intimidate victims, but he had not used any of his weapons to actually harm anyone for
Yet.
Up at this point for the majority of these hits.
Okay.
But his behavior was definitely escalating. One January night in 1974, Roger hatched a plan to rob a McDonald's restaurant in rural Alabama, a fitting honeymoon not too long after his marriage to Verna.
Oh my God. Listen, babe, I don't want to lose the spark.
I don't want to lose the spark.
Let's go rob this McD's.
Yeah, let's go pop off a McDonald's. So 20-year-old Jimmy Earl Berry was the manager that night and was shot 4 times and killed so that Roger could run off with about $1,400.
My God.
He carried this out with the help of his blushing bride, Verna, and around 3 a.m. So, like, they came in around closing time when, like, basically the manager was the last one in the building, and that's Jimmy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was around 1 a.m. got him to open the safe, took the money, didn't want to witness, killed him. And then 3 a.m., a janitor comes to clean the store and found the key in the lock to the side door and the door open.
Okay, so they weren't still there when the janitor got there.
No, thank God. But I mean, this poor janitor, this poor kid.
Yeah.
I mean, all of this is so fucked up. He then entered the building, walked to the office, and discovered the safe open. The custodian, smart, immediately called the police and left the restaurant to just like wait in his car, like in a safe place.
Yeah.
And I did see one report that his car had, which I guess wasn't super uncommon in the 70s, his car had like a CB radio in it.
Mm-hmm.
And he picked up a police signal that like cops had arrived and were basically surrounding the building. And so Sergeant Robert Hall gets there and finds Jimmy Berry's body in a storeroom with 3 bullet holes in his abdomen. An autopsy later found the college junior was also shot once in the back with the bullet traveling upward and piercing his heart. So he was shot a bunch. Like they killed him.
Brutal.
4 years. So they leave. There are no leads. There's like no evidence. It's 1974. They don't have like all the tech. They have no fucking clue who did this. That it's just a brutal murder for a little bit of money, and they disappeared into the night.
Well, it's like you said it was a rural area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a McDonald's. It's probably close to a major highway.
Close to a highway. Easy for them to just hop on and fuck off.
Damn.
4 years after the McDonald's slaying, Roger, Verna, and Roger's brother Harold, who also like was part of this, carried out a new plan crafted once again by Roger. So like what had been going on in the interim as they were kind of laying low, I think he was still hitting some smaller places and getting kind of a feel for like he and his brother Harold would go to motels and try to like rob the motels or maybe rob the people staying. But then they were like, oh, fuck, there's a lot of cars here.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is too risky. We're not going to go here. We're going to hit this restaurant. We're going to hit this place, whatever.
Figuring out what works.
Figuring out what works. And then he had a new idea. So they're on the side of the road, the highway. And the Lorenz family, who is made up of Melvin Lorenz, who at the time was 38. He was a traveling preacher, but they also were an Air Force family, it sounds like. He was like involved in the military in some way. His wife, Lorene Lorenz, who was 37, and their young son, Richard, who some reports said he was 11, some said he was 12, but he was just a kid. They were driving on a rural highway in Oklahoma, and they were allegedly on their way to Melvin's mother's funeral in North Dakota.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and they were driving like a pickup truck, but that had a camper topper on the back. And so their son was like in the camper with one of the dogs, or I guess they have a family dog. And he had like a bed back there and was like sleeping. And this was at night.
The 50s were a different time.
A totally different time. Just a loose kid and a dog in the fucking bed of a truck. But whatever. That's not what ended
fun.
That's not what ended up harming him in the long run. So
great.
So they're driving and they come across a woman on the side of the road with a stalled car with the hood of the car up. And this family was known for their kindness, their willingness to help others, and they became victims when they stopped to assist what appeared to be a stranded motorist. So Verna, well, the group of them, but with Verna as like the star of the charade, staged a breakdown of her vehicle along the highway, knowing that Good Samaritans like the Lorenz family might stop to assist, and that Verna could not only keep watch on like what's going on out on the road, but put the targets of their scheme at ease because she's a woman.
She's a woman.
And she appeared to be alone at night. When the Lorenz family stopped, Roger and Harold ambushed them. They'd been hiding behind their car, and demanded their money at gunpoint.
That's so...
Melvin...
Not that anyone deserves to be victimized, of course, but like the fact that it was random and they they didn't know there was a kid in the car. It could have been a bus full of nuns.
Yeah.
That's just really especially insidious.
It is because it's so insidious because it's very much like this family was just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Going to his mom's funeral.
Going to his mom's funeral. It's manipulating people's willingness to help.
Yeah.
People's goodness.
Mm-hmm. They were a kind family.
Yeah. It's just luring people into a trap like this is fucking sick. It's sick.
Yeah.
So Melvin at gunpoint tells them like, okay, I can give you some money, but like I can't give you everything because we're on our way to my mother's funeral in North Dakota. And I'm going to need a little bit for the gas to get there with like our camper truck. This pissed off Roger, who made the decision to kill the family.
Oh, God.
They were each shot at close range. Lorraine, as she was running toward Verna for safety, there's a report that Verna like pushed her to the ground and then either Harold or Roger stood over her and shot her.
So it didn't even, she might not have even realized that Verna was part of the scheme. She's like,
I don't think so at
lady,
first.
help me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
And their son, Richard, who was still in the camper with the family dog, he had like cried out for help. And then they realized, oh, there's a kid in there. Roger approached the camper, produced a knife, cut a hole in the screen of the camper topper, and fired his pistol into the darkness toward the sound of Richard
crying
out
parents. Oh,
and
my
killed
God.
him.
Jesus.
The brutality of the crime shocked investigators and highlighted Stafford's willingness to commit murder to achieve his goals, which seemed at the surface financial, but like it was a bloodlust thing at this point. Like nobody who doesn't get some kind of jolly from the act of killing is going to slaughter an entire fucking family randomly on the side of the road for maybe a few $100s. Like, I don't even know how much money they got from this little military family going to a funeral. They're driving. They can't even fly. They can't afford to fly there.
Well, is this not the 50s, 60s, 70s?
Yeah.
Whatever.
They had planes then.
They only got $1,400 from the McDonald's too.
Yep.
Like that wasn't. Yeah.
It's just like, it's depraved. After killing the Lorenz family, Roger and Harold stole their car and their belongings. They abandoned the bodies like in the area. They had driven the son, Richard. They drove his body like a few miles away and like basically dumped him in like a field off of the highway. They all of the bodies were recovered, thankfully, but yeah.
God,
the crime left few immediate leads for investigators as Stafford and his brother had pretty carefully covered their tracks. The case puzzled law enforcement. The Lorenz family had no known enemies. The crime was super random, but witnesses on the highway were helpful. They did report seeing suspicious activity near the scene of the crime, but they didn't seem to get like a plate number or a very detailed description of like the decoy car, the broken down car that wasn't actually broken down. That was just the Stafford's car. So
it was also dark.
It was dark. And then like Roger and Harold kind of split up with Verna. I think Verna took their car, like the Stafford's car, and left. And then Roger and Harold took the truck. And I guess somebody saw it at a gas station and like thought it looked really sus.
Yeah, the back's ripped out or whatever he did to it.
And provided some context and witness testimony on that. So like there was mutterings about what was going on, but like they were at large. Like they couldn't identify
It was not enough
Roger,
to
Harold,
track
and Verna.
someone down.
Right. So the murders that cemented Stafford's place in true crime history occurred just weeks later on July 16th, 1978 at a Sirloin Stockade restaurant in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
Oh.
Roger, alongside his wife, Verna, and brother Harold, devised and carried out a brutal robbery at the restaurant. The plan was straightforward but monstrously cruel. Stafford and his accomplices entered the Sirloin Stockade near closing time when they knew the restaurant would have cash on hand. They forced 6 employees into the walk-in freezer at gunpoint. The victims were literal teens, all except one, who was the manager on duty.
Did you say there were people in there eating too?
It was like right when they were closing. So I think guests had left, but the staff was still there, like cleaning up and shutting down for the night. I mean, any restaurant, it's like there's going to be people there for a couple hours after
Your
guests
closing
are not being
duties.
served anymore. Yeah. Yeah, all of these victims were teenagers except for the manager. They were working late to earn a living, to save money for college. Like they were just at fucking work.
Yeah.
After robbing the restaurant, so making them like open the safe, empty the tills, probably empty out whatever's in their pockets.
Yeah.
Stafford made the chilling decision to eliminate witnesses. In an execution-style killing, the employees were shot multiple times while like kneeling next to each other in the freezer.
In the freezer.
In the freezer, packed into the freezer. There were 6 of them.
In the
And
dark,
when they were found,
next
they were
to
like,
your coworkers you probably
Yeah.
don't even like that much.
I mean, it's so fucked up. And they were like, it's a tight space. They were like piled on top of each other.
Ugh. God.
Yeah. The brutality of the crime left a lasting scar on the community. I mean, how could it not? The victims were mostly teenagers, except for like 1 or 2 people that were older managers that were working there. Louise Zacharias, 43, Isaac Freeman, 56, and then David Lindsay, 17, David Salzman, 16, Anthony 2, 17, and Terry Horst, 15 years old. And there's also a report of a victim named Anthony Trolander, who is 13. I don't know if he was killed or not, but that was a name that was in there, so I wanted to include him just in case. Terry, the 15, 16-year-old girl, and the other victims were found by her boyfriend, Carlos, who had come to pick her up from work that night.
Oh my God.
She was still alive when he found her, mumbling for help, but died by the time EMTs got her to the hospital.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Oh God.
The Staffords got away with $1,300.
Good job, guys.
Verna later said they shot the employees because, quote, the manager kept saying that we wouldn't get away with this and we would be caught. Roger got mad and started shooting.
So there's a theme of Roger getting mad and
Yep.
taking things way farther than they planned.
Yep. Verna also testified that Roger put his gun in her hand and was saying something to the effect of, "You're going to be a part of this."
Ooh.
The murders initially baffled authorities due to the lack of immediate leads. Roger, Verna, and Harold had fled the scene, leaving behind little evidence. However, a critical breakthrough came when 6 days after the Sirloin Stockade robbery, Harold Stafford died in a motorcycle accident in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
What?
Yeah, now there are some theories, speculations that he died by suicide.
Oh.
That this motorcycle crash was intentional and the weight of all that they had done had become too much for him. And also the weight of being caught.
Yeah.
We don't know, but that is definitely talked about on the forums.
Hey, 2 suspicious car wrecks in one episode.
I know, right? We seem to have some like weird connections sometimes.
Safe to say that Karen did not die
No.
by suicide.
Police traced a woman who went to see his body at a local funeral home to Chicago, Illinois, where they found and arrested Verna Stafford.
Did you say funeral home?
Yeah. So she had like gone to see him and had like signed in or something. And then they traced her to Chicago, I guess, where they were like she was trying to lay low. I think they'd split up at this point. And they found her and they arrested her. Another report said that on January 3rd, 1979, drunk on 2 pints of whiskey, Roger himself called in a tip that named him, his brother, and his wife as suspects.
Himself?
I guess. Or wait, no, that named his brother and his wife as suspects, called in a tip, trying to put it on them.
Okay.
But with Verna now in custody and looking at big fucking trouble, she sang like a canary, implicating Roger in not only the Sirloin Stockade murders, but the murder of the Lorenz family and Jimmy Berry, the McDonald's manager 4 years prior. So he'd killed like 10 fucking people at least.
God.
Roger Dale Stafford was arrested on October 12th, 1978, following Verna's testimony and a series of corroborative pieces of evidence, including a ballistics match on the guns used in the murders. The 3 guns, I guess, were found by a 6-year-old child after they'd been ditched in a sack, like near a random neighborhood, I guess.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I saw this news report from like the Oklahoman. I have it linked in my sources somewhere, but
They could have had another victim.
The opening of the article was like, "Daddy, can I have a gun?" And the dad being like, "No, of course you can't." And then the kid being like, "Well, I already have one." And like showing a sack of 3 guns, and they were the fucking guns from these murders.
Journalism has gone through some weird trends.
It certainly has. So yeah, the dad who of this kid who found the guns turned them in to the police because he's like, I'm not gonna keep a sack of guns that my 6-year-old fucking found like in a field.
Also, like, way suspicious. A bag
So
of guns.
weird. Bag of guns. I can't. That's video game logic. Like, what the fuck?
Right.
His trial was a high-profile event marked by intense media coverage and public outrage. On October 17th, 1979, he was convicted of 9 murders, though we know he killed 10 people, we'll get to it, and sentenced to death. The McDonald's murder, along with other violent crimes, was considered in the larger case against him, but in a devastating blow to Jimmy Berry's surviving family, formal charges for his murder were not added in this case.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
I mean, I think sometimes the courts and whatever get to a point where it's like, we know he did this, but we don't need these charges to convict him. And it's just going to add time and resources to the court case. And we just want to get this done as quickly as possible. So let's focus on like the Sirloin Stockade murders and the Lorenz family murders, which happened in rapid succession right next to each other.
Yeah.
And in the same state.
I know that sometimes they just don't bring certain things to trial if it's not going to change any outcome.
Yeah,
but
and the McDonald's murder, I think, was in Alabama and not in Oklahoma. So it just might have been like a complicating factor that would lead to more time, again, and resources spent on his conviction. It sucks. I'm not saying that I'm cool with it. But that's my understanding or my theory on why they didn't include those charges.
Yeah, that would suck for his surviving family.
It's awful for his family. I mean, in some ways they are getting justice, but it's like their loved one is barely even mentioned.
I would want that on fucking paper.
Me too. Me fucking too. Absolutely I would.
Yeah.
Absolutely I would. While the Sirloin Stockade murders were the focus of his trial and subsequent death sentence, the McDonald's killing further solidified his profile as a remorseless killer. And he, like, tried to maintain his innocence until the bitter fucking end, and we'll get to that. So he did not take any responsibility, show any remorse for what happened to these what he did to these families, to these children. Like, he didn't give a fuck.
Ugh.
He just wanted to... He just lied.
Yeah.
He just lied to the court, lied to the jury... You know, whatever. The McDonald's worker, Jimmy's sister, Wanda Berry, said after the execution, quote, "He, Roger, was one of the last people that saw my brother alive, and now he's dead. But it's comforting to know that he will not cause other families the kind of torture that we've been through." And like I mentioned earlier, Roger and Verna did have 3 kids together. Roger Stafford Jr., Victoria Stafford, and Candy Stafford. They were young when all of this happened. And I don't think the kids weren't like with them when these crimes were committed, as far as I know. I didn't see anything that said that.
That is the only thing that could make this worse.
Right. And they were placed in adoptive homes in Illinois, which I think is where maybe Verna had some family, because like she was even found in Illinois. She might have been found with the kids.
Do you think she was found in Peoria?
I wonder how she was found near Chicago. So I wonder how close to Peoria she was found. I don't know. Have Ben look into it. Verna testified against Roger in court, pointing to abuse and manipulation at the hands of her husband and brother-in-law, Harold, to explain her involvement in all of these crimes. She divorced him while he was on death row, and she was sentenced Yeah.
That is
too little too late, girlfriend.
I don't know if that's kind of a power move, though. Like, I don't care that you're about to die.
Bye. She's also going away she's going away for life. She was sentenced to 2 life terms for her part in the crimes, probably knowing he's going to die.
Well, why would she care?
Well, I think some of it is optics. She's, in her testimony, her trial, she was fighting to avoid the death penalty. And so she really wants to distance herself from him, make him look like the mastermind, which he was. And that move of divorcing him definitely helps support her position.
Yeah, I bet her lawyer probably advised her to do.
Yeah, that's probably one of the first things he fucking advised her to do. She was sentenced to 2 life terms for her part in the crimes and spared the death penalty because her testimony was so crucial in Rogers' arrest and conviction. Roger Stafford married again twice while on death row.
Oh, for God's sake. Oh, also, I'm watching Love After Lockup. It's so bad. I'm addicted.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, and people do that shit. Twice?
Twice. He got married, got divorced, and got married again while on death row.
Ew, I see him.
And I gotta say,
Verna.
He and Verna look like every hot, like, Minneapolis hipster couple that I have ever seen at shows. Like, I stood next to that guy at the Death Cab for Cutie concert.
I can smell
with
that man.
mustache. Yeah. I'm not. Yeah, I don't know. He's not hideous. He's a monster. But in my 20s, I would have had sex with that man.
Oh,
sorry.
You dated this man.
Yeah.
He doesn't even have a queer shag.
No. And I still probably would have. And I hate, it makes me sick to say it, but it's just true. It's just true. He's not the kind of like monster that you take one look at his picture and you're like, oh, you're a fucking monster.
Even though he's a Scorpio.
Yep.
Born in Tulsa. Yeah, okay.
So, yeah.
Twice.
He married twice. During this time, he continued to maintain his innocence despite overwhelming evidence. But it all came to an end on July 1st, 1995, when Roger Dale Stafford was executed by lethal injection at the Oklahoma State Penitentiary in McAlester, Oklahoma. Quote, "My thoughts and prayers are with the families of Roger Dale Stafford's victims, Melvin Lawrence, Linda Lawrence, Richard Lawrence, Terry Horst, Isaac Freeman, David Lindsay, David Salzman, Anthony Tu, and Luis Zacharias." There were other people that were named. State Attorney General Drew Edmondson said the long ordeal of the Roger Dale Stafford case is over. In the final analysis, he received far more justice than his victims. They deserve to live, and for their murders, Stafford deserved to die. Case closed. Even up to his final hours, Stafford said a lie detector test would prove his innocence.
Oh, no.
Stafford, minutes before his execution, still tried to maintain his innocence, claiming a lie detector test would clear him. Quote, "I'd like to tell the world you're seeing an innocent man murdered. I've got nothing to lose by telling a lie," he said. So, like, I think he finally did say, I guess I kind of did it, without saying, I guess I kind of did it.
Yeah.
And then prayed with his newest wife, Mickey, and moments before death muttered, "Oh God." And then he was gone.
Bye.
So rest in hell, Roger Stafford. I only wish you were alive today because I am against the death penalty, and I think it's too kind an end for somebody this fucking vile, who took out all of these literal children for a couple of fucking shekels.
For like an actual maybe $2,500, $3,000.
Yeah. It's just,
Jesus.
It's so fucking sad. It's so fucking sad.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow.
Yep.
Wow,
Yep.
Taliesin.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you again, Taliesin. Do not need to go to Oklahoma anytime soon, I don't think. Steak sure sounds good, though. And everyone, wear your seatbelt. Hope you're having a safe and happy 2025 so far.
Yep.
I can't even say that with a straight face. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.